Good morning. We shortly will celebrate this very special day for a very special group of people. They're called atheists. They come in the guise of communists, socialists, don't believe in gods, all those people. So we need to celebrate their day because we celebrate God's days. And I think that's only fitting. First, I'd like to bring to you a few things that are going on in our country. Those things are treachery, theft, lying, and treason. Who commits these? The aforementioned people. Now, a statement was made the other day that the laws, so-called, that stop you travelling around this country were made under the provisions of the Constitution. So, I read the Constitution. This is the Constitution of Western Australia, the only lawful one. It was put in place on the 29th of October 1900 with a letters patent. It had previously been enacted in 1889, become applicable in 1890. Now, if you're a politician, political party or not, you know that this is a fact. There is no local government in here. And there's nothing in here that says we have to obey the Parliament. Nothing at all. Because the Parliament is there to debate and pass legislation. That legislation is put together by the Governor. Now, somehow something went missing. The political parties decided they didn't want to abide by the law anymore, so they decided they had the right to commit treason, fraud, theft on the people of Western Australia and Australia. Now, this is the Government Gazette notifying the state of Western Australia, created under Section 107, 108 and 109 of our Constitution, the Commonwealth Constitution, notifying the residents there's a letters patent issued putting in place the office of Governor. Now that's a very, very important thing because the Governor is the highest authority in the government of Western Australia and every other state. Every Governor is the highest authority, just like the Governor General is the highest authority in Federal Parliament. Now, somehow, so the nice member from Margaret River decided that when Queen Victoria died, her letters patent died. This is another Government Gazette, February the 16th, 1920. That states very clearly that King George V reinstates and upholds all of the original letters patent of Queen Victoria. So, our nice little gentleman at Margaret River, you are lying. Whether you know it or not, your arrogant, ignorant attitude to people who try to tell you you're lying, you are wrong, is that I'm right. And when Queen Victoria died, so did our right to land, and now it's Torrens titles. That is a lie. You are a liar. You need putting behind bars for the lies, the deception and the treason you are committing on the Australian people. Like it or lump it, that's the law. The law McGowan was talking about last night in his little speech. Something he knows nothing about. Because, see this, Mark McGowan? This and this lays out the legislative authority of the parliaments. It also lays out how legislation is put together. It is put together by the Governor and Council at state level. No national cabinet. There's no such thing. No such thing as a national cabinet. To socialists there might be. To the traitors like you, there probably is. You believe in that nonsense. You believe ScoMo, the traitor, is telling you the truth. You believe that you can go outside of the parliament created by the people outside the laws put in place by the people, which is superior and supreme. They are the state constitution, which continues under 106 of our constitution, subject to our constitution. What does that mean? It simply means, if you take the time to read chapter 1, page 346, it says, not all enactments of the Parliament are valid, but only those passed pursuant to, in accordance with, and under the authority granted by our Constitution, and those enactments only are binding on the courts, the judges and the people. In other words, if you pass a so-called enactment, because that's all they are, put together by political parties and not by the governor and council as required, then they have no validity in law. But it goes further. It says if an authority isn't granted to a parliament, it's denied and remains with the people. What does that tell you, McGowan? ScoMo? We the people. We the people are the Commonwealth. We the people are the states. It's the crown in right of the states, the people. Not the state government. You change that. That's an imperial act you interfered with. The problem is 6.1.9 of the Statute of Monopolies says when you interfere with constitutions put in place by letters patent, which is all of them, you have a huge problem. It's called treason against the Crown of England. Not the bush turkey crown that you think you've got the right to swear your oath to. And by the way, McGowan, you are not the Premier of this country, of this state. To be that, you have to swear the oath contained in the Commonwealth Constitution. Didn't matter. In 2005, you removed, using the Oath Affidavits and Statutory Declarations Act, you removed Schedule E from the state constitution. A letters patent. It told you could do that. What goes between those thick ears of yours? You need a couple of sticks put in there, hold your ears apart. You're going to collapse on you, keep this nonsense up. It's time to reflect on your life, just before your special day tomorrow. I watched you last night. I watched your video about you've got this right, you've passed this law, the police are not going to find us anything. The police are not, that you call the police, are not officers of the Crown. No Crown, no authority. I don't care if you put a little crown on there with the Roman leaves up each side of it, or you put your emblem with the twin kangaroos for your kangaroo courts, no crown. Oh, and by the way, why don't you tell your Chief Justice and your Attorney General and your mate Kim Beazley, the level 33 Mason that follows his own religion and not the religion of our Constitution, not our beliefs. Why don't you tell him to answer the notices served on him by the Gap Party? Why don't you tell them to do that? Aha, they think they're above the law and they're going to ignore it. No, it's going to send you to jail, you clowns. You clowns are going. Now back to your little speech last night, McGowan. You do not now, constitutionally or any other way, have authority to pass laws restricting the movement of people. It is not a state issue, it is a federal issue. It is under the Commonwealth Constitution Act, Section 92. We can travel when we want, where we want in this country. Now, I understand if there is sickness to the extent that it's a pandemic, you could ask us and we'd instantly tell you, yes, restrict particular people going particular places. The rest is up to us, because we're sovereign, we're supreme. Got any doubts about that? Page 676 of our Constitution says the Parliament's not supreme, and the very essence of federation is that that must be so. Parliament, like everyone else, is subject to the law and must abide by it. When are you going to abide by it, Mark McGowan? when you're going to abide by the notice of seizure I served on you, and you acknowledged it by sending back a nonsense letter. You were trying to hold me to a decision of a court given when I wasn't there, and you knew that. But being a thick, ignorant traitor like you are, you thought you could persistently push the issue and say, oh, you're vexatious. No, I'm not. I am allowed, as an officer of the Crown, in fact I'm bound as an officer of the Crown, to review and reveal indictable offences. And that's what I've been doing. When I filed the documents on the Governor, it's because you idiots, you political parties, decided you had the right to change the electoral boundaries, which are in this Constitution. You can't. When you did, you committed treason against the Crown of England. That's what I put. But the lawful governor never appeared in court. A legal fiction did. Your very own lawyer, Mr. Leith, admitted that my name in capital letters was a legal fiction. He accepted the governor in capital letters was a legal fiction. So then I became the advocate for the legal fiction with no liability. Now you've got a problem, haven't you? That refers to every single person in this country. So when you serve your little infringement notices, they can send them back. They don't have to contract with you. They can send them back as nullified. You can't do anything about it, you donkey, because our name's in capital letters as a legal fiction. It's on our driver's licences. That's the legal fiction. The legal fiction is given permission to drive. When you haul out your licence and show it to the non-cops, non-officer of the Crown, non-cops, end of the story. You show them the legal fiction. The legal fiction's been given permission to drive. Our Constitution says we don't need permission to drive. We have a right to travel. Get it through your thick head. Now, I don't want to make this a long video, so I'll get to the point. Last night, you were asked the question, is this constitutional what you're doing? And you hummed and hawed, and you said, oh, on advice, no, it's constitutional. No, you're a liar. You exercising, or the Parliament, exercising authority by passing laws? No, rules that are unenforceable. Carry no penalties. You can't put a penalty on them. You can't enforce them, you donkey. The Governor in council, which you no longer have because you decided you could remove it. When did you do that? January the 1st, 2004. You removed it. And you made the Governor part of the State Parliament. Well, reject him. He's just a waste of space. Waste of space. Doesn't do anything constructive. Doesn't select the 18 from the Houses of Parliament like he's required to. Anyway, getting back to the subject. You can't restrict our passage anywhere in this state. Oh yeah, you can do it by force, and that's what you're doing, because that's how socialists work. You're like a bunch of spoilt brats. You do what I told, or I'll penalise you. I'll give you a fine. I'll do this, I'll do that, because that's all you ever do. All you do is sit there, lie, cheat, and steal from the people. And no, what you've done is unconstitutional. Should those things be in place? Yes. You knew last year about this so-called disease. Do you know also that 5G, once it starts operation, puts out a radiation which causes the same symptoms as this so-called pandemic? It's not a pandemic. You take out all the ships that you're allowed to come here. Oh, I don't want them. But ScoMo told me I should have them. No, ScoMo and you are a pair of clowns, bouncing things off you thinking you get away with it. You're liars. Those ships should have been bound. Anybody who dies here now as a result of contact with those people off the ship, you should be charged with their murder. You and ScoMo, because you allowed them to come here. You allowed all the students from China to come here, knowing they come from a place where this disease has been around since the middle of last year, and you know it. What have you done about that? Nothing. How many Chinese planes are flying into this country now and flying out? How many? Or aren't you going to tell people that? Flying into Broken Hill and around there, hiding the fact that they're taking all the food and everything that was removed from the shelves of shops. It was there one night and it was gone the next morning. People didn't go in and grab it. That's all lies put out by you and ScoMo and the rest of the fleas. Now, your lie that what you're doing is constitutional. It's an outright lie and an act of treason against the people. Don't worry, I don't travel very much. I'm doing exactly what you suggest we should do, because what you're saying is a suggestion, it's not law. And the average guy with any brains in their head, male or female, we will follow what you ask. Stop telling us. You have to ask. You are there to serve us, not the other way around. You want a law? Tell your fat mate, Beasley, to get off his butt, select the 18, put the legislation together, put it to the Parliament. And there is no national cabinet. There's no cabinet in our Constitution. It doesn't exist. It's a federal executive and the state executive. Look it up. If you can't spell the word, I'll spell it out for you. Now, your big problem. You people are unlawful. You are traitors. You are thieves. You think you're going to get away with stealing everything in this country? No, you're not. So, now I'm going to reveal to you your most famous day of the year. The Bible says in the book of Psalms, if you don't believe in God, you're a fool. So, for all you fools that don't believe in God, you're still going to the biggest barbecue in history and you're the meat. But we've reserved a special day for you. That's tomorrow, April the 1st. April Fool's Day. That's your special day. So tomorrow, I will be thinking of you. You McGowan and all you donkey atheists that don't believe in God. I'll be thinking about your special day. Because you put in place a choking factor where you can't go out and celebrate. But that's okay. We'll let you off the hook. Go and celebrate anyway, because your choking factor being your so-called laws are all a fraud and a lie. Have a nice day.